Good morning, Hope Church, and welcome to another devotion. This morning we're going to be looking at Psalm 33, which is really the psalm that continues from Psalm 32, which is the Psalm of David. I'm just going to read it for us, a few verses 8 to 12 of Psalm 33, and I'll make a few observations for us. Let's read from verse 8. Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the people of the world revere him. For he spoke and it came to be. He commanded and it stood firm. The Lord follows the plans of the nations. He thwarts the purposes of the peoples. But the plans of the Lord stand firm forever. The purposes of his heart through all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he chose for his inheritance. Earlier on, David has been calling people in Psalm 23 to sing joyfully to the Lord, to praise him, and has given reason why they should do that. From verse 8, he's calling all the people of the earth to fear and to revere God, to revere him. So that's what David is calling people. That's what David is calling us today. Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the people of the world revere him. And the reason why David is saying that the people of the earth should fear the Lord, should revere him, is two things. First is because God made the world, created the earth. Look with me in verse 9. It says, for he spoke and it came to be. He commanded and it stood firm. So here we are told saying that the reason why people of the earth should revere and fear God because God created it. And when saying created it, David tells us saying that God, he spoke. Not told that he labored, worked very hard so that the earth may be where it is. David says simply the Lord spoke and the world came into existence. And that takes us back to Genesis when we are told when God created the heavens and the earth and how he spoke and everything obeyed and became what he commanded to be. So he's saying because of that, we should fear him. People of the earth, we should revere the Lord, for he spoke everything to be. So this God is displaying that he is powerful. He simply spoke and the world came to be. The second reason is that this God did not only create the earth, but he is the one who is sovereign, who is in charge of his daily dealings. Look at verse 10 11. It says, the Lord follows the plans of the nations. He thwarts the purposes of the peoples. But the plans of the Lord stand firm forever, the purposes of his heart through all generations. So our plans, verses 10 and 11, in verse 10 11, our plans are compared with God's plan. Where it says in verse 10 that God is the one that frustrates, that follows the purposes and plans of people. And we can all kind of, in what has been happening now, we can see that. That will be, I guess it would be stupid to deny that, where we all had purposes this year, come of 2020. That many of us, we have so many challenges 2019, we thought 2020 surely is our year. And we had all these dreams, these ambitions that we set. And yet Corona came and it just threw all those plans into disarray. And we have to postpone, or we have to just forget about them altogether. So we know this year that we are not in charge. We're not truly in charge of our destiny, as the world sometimes would have us think that we're not champions of our destiny. And the psalmist says that because saying that the Lord is the one who frustrates. the nations, the plans of nations. But it says that the psalmist tells us, but God's plans stand firm. His purposes will happen. He's saying that He is in charge. It's not frustrates man's plan, but is the one that His plans will not be frustrated. They will come into fruition. And that could be good news depending where you stand with God. That if you fear and revere God, as the psalmist is calling us to do in verse 8, then that will be good news for you. But if you don't, it is bad news for you. Because that is verse 12, it says, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people He chose for His inheritance. So there's a blessing where we know, because we know we're not in charge. I know I'm not in charge, as this verse has made it very clear to me and to everyone out there who will be honest in themselves. But God is, and His plans. We know if you are His person, the people in verse 12 talk about that He has chosen, who are blessed, that you know that the plans for you, that they are good. Not only that they are good, but also they will come into fruition. So you can trust God with that. Even situation where in this world where everything seems to be up in air, you don't know whether you're gonna have a job to do, when all this thing happens. We wouldn't know when is this gonna end and what life's gonna look like. But you can trust that the God who created the earth, He is the one who is in charge of it. He's the one who's setting life into motion. So He's not distant or separated from the dealings of men. He's actually in charge over them. And that is a good thing for those who have chosen God or been chosen by God. And the call here in the psalm says, let us be people who, instead of putting ourselves to be the Lord of our lives, but let us be those who see God as who He is, who fear Him, revere Him, because He is the one who created it all, created us and the world we live in. But not only that, is the ones whose plans will succeed, who is in charge, even of our own life, of our own plans. But yet, if we have trusted in Him, we have nothing to worry about. We are the ones the psalmist calls, we are blessed. So that is my encouragement for us this morning, that let us be people that our lives will acknowledge, will give reverence to God, to Jesus as the Lord of our lives. And also not as we do that, and we remember how blessed we are, because we know that even our plans may be halted this year, may be frustrated and uncertain, but God's plan for us and for this world will come to fruition. And that is good news for us. That's where I'll end for us, and I hope you will have a good day and a blessed weekend.